Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. Depending, I guess it's going to be the New Year. Most likely, it's got to be after the 1st of January when you see this. And yes, if you hear my voice, I hope I can get through this. It's My voice has been going downhill all day. It's just allergies, but it's just irritating. So let me just try this one. Oh, there's Penny in the back. She's kind of watching me. Hopefully, she'll stay put. Then again, if she wants to get involved, that's okay. What I've got today is three quotes that, in a sense, what shall I say, are a story, in a sense, or a statement that I want to present because I'm thinking in terms that this is the new year. And as this time of year, most people, at least, whether you make it or not, most people at least give some thought to New Year's resolutions and how they want to go through the next year. They may just think about it, and that's as far as it goes, mind you. Some of you will actually make New Year's resolutions and, whether it goes or whether it doesn't. But I gave some thought to doing this ever so slightly different. So I've got actually three short quotes today. So let me go through all three of them. One of them, two of them have got names. Well, all of them have got names associated to them. One of them, the last one, apparently was said by an actor on a television program. But where it came from, I have no idea. But anyway, let's try. This is what we've got. So the first one from Charles Kettering. You can't have a better tomorrow if you're still thinking about yesterday. So let me think about that one, or have you think about that one. As you're getting ready to go through the new year and thinking in terms of what you want to do, are you thinking in terms of how this new year is going to play out? Or are you thinking about everything that hasn't happened or didn't happen or should not have happened or whatever in the past? So the idea here is that if you're thinking about everything that's happened or hasn't happened that you wish it happened, but in other words, you're thinking in the past, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to start a new year because your mind's still in the past and you've got, if you will, some baggage that's being carried over into the new year. The idea of the new year, way back when in ancient history, is that, people would start the whole year anew and they could, in a sense, get rid of old baggage and start again, which usually doesn't happen because it's difficult to get rid of old baggage. But in this case, to become aware of whether or not you're starting out with old baggage. Say, for example, if you say, well, every year at New Year's, I promise I'm going to lose weight. What you're doing is you're carrying in the old baggage of thinking in terms of what you've done for the last several years when you kept saying, I want to lose weight. So you've got that negativity of thinking, I've done this before, it hasn't happened, so let me just do it again or whatever. Do you see where I'm coming from with this? So that you're thinking about yesterday and how things have not gone for you in that particular case. And so you've still got that kind of attitude in your mind when you're placing your New Year's resolution for this year. So if you're thinking in terms of what's happened before and you didn't expect it to work or hasn't worked in the past, you're going in with somewhat of a negative bias to start the new year. Again, let's just use you're losing weight or you want to get fit or whatever. If you're thinking in terms of, well, it's happened before, I've put this in before and it hasn't worked, but let's try it again this year, you've already halfway, and I don't want to say failed, but it hasn't worked out because you're kind of going into it with a negative bias. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So the second one, um, you can't achieve anything without getting in someone's way. From Abba Even. Um, those of you who are going to think in terms that you're trying to do things but not interfere with somebody else or not impact somebody else, that's probably not going to be true. Because sooner or later, something's going to happen. You're going to end up having to have an impact on somebody else. Even again, using this thing of losing weight. Let's suppose, for the sake of argument, that you do lose weight, some way, shape, or form. You're going to have an impact on somebody else. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you lose 20 pounds. Somebody who you know is going to look at you and is going to think in terms, well, she did or he did, why can't I? Or they may get jealous because you did. Or they're wondering how you did it, and then they start feeling bad. Or then they feel challenged that, oh, well, you did, so maybe I can do it too. In other words, that even if you accomplish what you're setting out to do and you don't have a competition with somebody else, you're still going to impact somebody else's behavior or somebody else's thought process. Now, if you set up that you want to do something and you don't, and somebody's going to say, well, they can't do it either, so why should I? Or gee, I'm glad she didn't do it because that means that I don't have to worry about it either, or some such thing like that. So sooner or later, whatever you succeed or don't succeed in doing, you're going to impact somebody else. Even though you may think you don't, you probably will. So maybe you have no friends, maybe you don't do anything, but let's just say you lose weight. Maybe you don't have any friends and maybe you don't announce it, but somebody will know. Unless you stay in your room and never go outside and never see anybody at all, which is going to be really difficult to do. Somebody's going to see you most likely at some point. Somebody's going to see you and notice that you've lost the weight. So it's going to impact somebody else. Okay? Maybe you don't lose the weight. Maybe instead of losing the weight, maybe you gain it. You're still going to impact somebody else because they're going to see it and they're going to notice that, and it's going to impact how they think about whether, okay, if you can do it, I can do it, or if she can't do it, what makes me think I can do it, or that kind of thing. Some way, shape, or form, you will impact and get in somebody else's way. If you want to go to school, you're going to change the lifestyle for somebody that you know or in your household. Some way, shape, or form, you're going to impact somebody else. And if you're going to go about trying to not impact anybody else, then why are you trying to make any changes? Because that's basically impossible anyway. If you want to do something for yourself, you're probably going to have to impact somebody else. And so you're going to need to accept that fact and decide what's going to be important for you or for other people. And if you're going to decide that you are not important and other people are, then we need to have a long conversation. Does that make sense? Sooner or later, whatever you do, you're going to have an impact with somebody else. Now, I wouldn't say you should keep that uppermost in your mind, but you may want to take it into consideration as you think about what you're setting up for as your resolution. Okay? Just at least consider it. And the last one, hopefully, is a little bit more positive than the other two, because that might sound sort of negative. I guess it could be you interpreted that way. I don't mean it that way, but I just give you something to think about. You don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. Just take the next step. And this is the one that's apparently by Harvey Specter on the television program Suits. I don't know. It's just what my research came up with. Since I don't watch the television program, I don't know. And even if I did watch it, I don't remember seeing that comment. The idea is that just because you start to change something or get started on something, you don't have to have everything all figured out. Just take that first step and then take the next step, and then the next step and go after it. No matter what you plan, the odds are somewhere along the line, the plan is not going to go the way you planned. I think most of you have been around long enough in this world to notice that plans change. Something happens. You don't have to have a complete plan to make a change. So if you want to lose the weight, or if you want to start school, or if you want to change jobs, or whatever it is, just take that first step. And then when you reach some kind of impact or something happens, take the next step and take the next step and the next step. That's all you can do. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, just take that next step, because there's no way you're going to be able to plan everything. Does that make sense? Besides, it would sort of like, and many times not going according to plan gives you more of what you wanted than having everything go according to plan. Not always, but sometimes it does. And besides, if you think about it, that's really what makes life. If everything went according to plan and was like we outlined it and everything was just so rigid, life wouldn't be exactly what it is. You wouldn't have all those stories to tell people, now would you? So when you have those stories about this is what I tried and this is what happened, and boy, think about that. And then you've got stories and you can tell other people about what happened and listen to what other people do and everything else like that. It'd be really, really, really boring if everything went according to plan all the time. Okay? Does this make sense? So hopefully this gives you something to think about as you go through this period of time of thinking about how you want 20 to 25 to go. Basically, just get started. Don't worry about whose way you're going to get into. Just take the next step and figure things out as you go along. Because really, seriously, when you come right down to it, that's all we can ever do. Can't do anything else but that. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you something to think about. And let me know what you think. Tell me what your plans are, and we can work on them because I've got some things coming up about learning how to learn in the next few weeks if all goes well. And again, taking the next step. So I will take that step because that may not go according to plan either. But keep me posted, let me know what's going on so we can go on from here. So I hope you all have a good new year. Stay warm if you happen to be in that area of weather that's going to be absolutely miserable, and enjoy yourselves. And we'll chat with you later. Bye.